Okay. Jaime, there's some stuff we need to talk about.
All right. I'm all ears.
With the shop. So interestingly enough, when I was out back, we were taking in a shipment to the back. The UPS guy came into the back, and I did notice like there was something off to the back side of the shop. So I kind of went to go investigate kind of what was happening there.
Okay.
And I and before I tell you about that, before I tell you what I went and found, because I always forget to do this. My name is Eli.
Oh, and I'm Jaime.
And this is the Top Shelf Video Podcast. We're both co-owners of our store, and we are in need of employees right now because we had a really busy month in October. We had a lot of customers kind of coming through, and the season of the holiday is kind of picking up, and we really need help because I think you and I have been working like nonstop. And even though we do have Chad, which is great, yeah, we really need to bring in some employees. So it brings me back around to my story of, so the UPS guy drops off the stuff and I go into the back and there is like a sort of like a weird kind of, I don't know how to describe it other than there was kind of like a cave entrance or something out to the back. So I go wandering out there because I'm thinking like, I don't know, are there like squatters? Is something going on in the back area?
Right.
So I go wandering down there and lo and behold, some of my friends that I didn't realize were like out back to the shop, which is very odd and very, convenient for this story. That I go and kind of open up this like shanty door that leads down to a cave. And lo and behold, there's a little sign that says Flickers from the Cave. And I was like, oh, I know these guys. I wonder if they would be interested in some work. So I left some applications like at the front. I didn't really go in. I just kind of left them there. And like the next day there were some applications slid underneath the door. So, but yeah, so, I thought maybe we should bring them in because I know we've been looking for some work. So, if you want to open the door and let in, our friends from Flickers from the Cave. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. If they know about movies, then, yeah, all the help we can get.
You guys want to come in?
What's up? Where do you want us to go?
Oh, you can just have a seat wherever. Yeah, it's all good. Hey,
so sit on the counter.
Thank you so much for
that's
having
all
us.
good. Yeah, for sure. So these are my friends, Julie, Mike, and Marty from Flickers from the Cave.
What's up?
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
how's it going, guys? Yeah,
Great. We're
How
so
are you
happy to
guys?
be here.
Excuse the dust. We were doing some tunneling earlier.
Yeah, no. Totally understandable. I get it. Like, times are tough. Prices are high. We have a tough enough time as it is just trying to keep our shop open. I would imagine a cave is no different.
Well, we took a detour through some garden patches, and it was like the old Bugs Bunny cartoons. All the carrots just sort of down the holes as we went under.
We were on our way to Pismo Beach.
We took a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, that's right.
We still ended up here.
Somehow Walla Walla, Washington factors in. I don't know. But so
For
yeah.
sure
So anyway, yeah. I thought you guys would be, I thought you guys would be a good applicants for what we're looking for. Oddly enough, we left 3 applications, but you applied all together, and I assume because I think it may have been noted that you guys all work together. So apparently, Jaime, if we put them on the shift, all 3 of them have to work together. I would just note to you guys that we're only paying for like 1 salary, so you guys would have to split that amongst 3. Sorry, it's just times are tough.
That's okay. I mean, we're a unit package. Yeah. We come together.
Okay.
We sort of like fell into like a hive mind situation.
Oh, okay.
Like several years ago. It's really just
This is a shared
group think.
Okay. So you guys can
Absolutely.
actually be too far away from each other, or the brain mechanism starts to kind of fail if you get too far away. Is that what you're kind of?
It's sort of like that. There is a little bit of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers thing too, where we just walk around pointing at people and screaming. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
I think it's because our moms all were given ephemeral when they were pregnant.
Okay.
And so now we all have telekinetic abilities. So we just no matter where we're at, we can sit and just think really hard. And then we think of some shitty movie that we should all watch.
My nosebleeds.
And there are nosebleeds.
You bring that up, and I think that's how I somehow got pulled into you guys, because I think you were really focusing one time, and you were focusing either on Jim Cotta or Robo Vampire or something, and I think you went a little too far, and somehow I was like, ow, my head, and I got pulled in. I think it's I got tractor beamed almost into your hive mind. So I think I'm like a moon on the outer rim of all that. And I pulled in my brother into this. Yeah.
So you're orbiting the godforsaken hobbit hole that we call the cave.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wait, guys, does that mean that we're like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh, wow.
Do you guys like pizza?
Yes.
Yes. The answer would be yes.
Like pizza.
Okay. Do you guys own a van or
oh man, I want one.
Okay.
We don't, but we can change that.
Okay.
Absolutely. We can do
I had
that.
a minivan once.
I want a super van.
Super.
You had a minivan?
Yeah, a long time ago.
We had Jaime, do you remember the van that Dad bought that was like a Good Times van?
The black van, yeah.
It had like a
captain
sunset
swivel chairs. Yeah. I drove it in high school.
They had the airbrushing on it?
Nice.
I drove that son of a bitch to high school.
Yeah.
What model was it? What make and model? It was like a Dodge van, a Chevy van.
I think it was like a...
Very Sammy Jones.
Maybe it was a Chevy?
I think it was a show. No, was it a GMC? Did the GMC make those types of vans?
I think they all had their version of it.
That was
Chevy was probably pretty similar.
And it was lined with carpet and had the swivel
shag
chairs.
Carpet. It had the wood paneling on the inside.
Yeah.
Did it have a bed and stuff?
No, it had. Did it have a bed?
It had a bed in the back.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, it had a bed in the back. There were 4 chairs in the inside, and they could swivel all the way around. So the
captain's chairs.
Front. Yes, captain's chairs.
Yeah. It had the removable table in the center.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now that we're adults and responsible store owners, I can only imagine the conversations that our parents must have had of my dad being, I want to buy this, and my mom's like, that's a piece of shit. Why are you buying this thing? Because it was, I felt like it ran half the time, and then the other half the time that big area where you kind of lift it off up the front and you can get into the mechanics of it. I feel like that thing was off most of the time of being
between the seats.
Yes.
The big hood thing.
Yep.
The cup holder, also known as, because that's where the cup holders were.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And you were driving this thing to high school? That's amazing.
He did. For a little while, because I ended up getting my way into the little Nissan Sentra, but at the time I was so fucking embarrassed to be driving that thing, but that was the available transportation for my ass to get to school.
There you go.
I mean, in hindsight, it was the shag carpet. Now knowing now what I should have known back then, that was a total. I could have been.
That was a rolling
so many illegal things. Yeah, in that vehicle.
Yes.
Just think how much fumes you were inhaling, just moment to moment, because those things always would leak into the cabin.
Oh yeah, there's always a faint smell of gas. With the carburetor,
the engine's right
your
there.
Your carburetor is literally like a foot and a half
underneath your
head.
Coca-Cola. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, if we end up with a delivery service for this, guys, and we'll see how the interview goes, but we may have you guys driving around a
I know a girl named
at some point.
We know somebody named Kiki.
Sounds good to me.
What's that, Mike?
Is it, I was trying to make a joke and I think I blew it. What was it? Is it Kiki's delivery service?
Oh yeah,
that's what I was saying. We know somebody named Kiki if you're looking for a delivery service.
Oh yeah.
Just trying to keep it in the cinematic realm,
Oh no, I got you.
I didn't honestly know you were aware of that movie, Mike.
Oh,
I didn't know you were a Miyazaki fan.
You have no idea what I'm aware of.
Oh man, I'm gonna plus that on your application here. That's impressive, Mike.
Thank you very much.
I did not expect that either. Yeah,
I'm shocked, quite frankly. I did not know he was a anime guy.
+1.
Other than Yuritsuki
Doji, Legend of the Overfiend, of course.
Yeah.
But also you knew Kiki, which is, I don't know, that's more of the underrated one, right? Everybody knows Spirited Away, but
Yeah, and Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah. Nice,
Ponyo.
And
Mike is bringing
My
some
Neighbor
early
Totoro.
Totoro, yeah.
And Nausicaa and the Valley of the Winds.
And Ichi the Killer.
And the Boy and the Heron.
Yeah, just kind of slide that one in.
Look, I heard
Yeah.
it. I heard it.
Oh, I love The Cat Returns.
Yes.
And
There's so
Whispers of
many.
the Heart.
Porco Rosa.
Oh, yeah.
Love Porco Rosa.
What about like the Pom Poko one where the guy, like the raccoons are
Pompoco's
jumping on
amazing.
their balls?
With the big balls.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
All I heard was
that's great.
balls in stereo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we say
Yeah.
balls on an interview?
Mine is
All right,
one
that
you
Julie
said.
just got a point.
It's very,
okay.
it's very ballsy of you to say that.
That's okay. It's all right. Well, let's take a look here quickly at your application. So you guys are in North Carolina. So that
We're not paying for
shouldn't
travel.
be- yeah. Apparently your tunnel, like just there, you have some sort of weird, cool, like hyper tunnel or something underneath.
Yeah, it's a hype. We're early adopters of the Hyperloop. Tesla's
Okay,
Hyperloop.
okay.
So yeah, we got that going.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. That sounds good. As long
Rapid
as,
speed.
yeah.
If you've ever seen Planet Earth or Planet Earth 2,
Yeah.
the old Gene
Roddenberry.
Roddenberry show, we take that underground train.
Okay. No, okay. That sounds
Listen,
good.
John
As long as
Sack.
you're like, as long as you hear about it at least 5 minutes before we need to open, then we should be fine. So,
That's fair.
okay.
Marty
so
is very prompt, so we will all follow
Okay.
suit.
all right.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Desired position paid. Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Again,
Well, that's-
I have to note it's one check. You guys figure out how you're going to split it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
all right. So under skills for this position, you guys have movie knowledge and humor. I'm kind of questioning the humor part, but we'll see where the rest of this goes.
Earn.
I thi-
But
someone has altered my application because
Okay,
I didn't
all right.
include any of
Okay,
that.
that's fair. The responsible person that's going to be on time is questioning this now. So
Yep.
let's take a look at top 3 genres. We have horror, action, and comedy. Now, is that a collective group order, or is that one of each? Do you guys want to speak to
That's one
horror,
genre.
action, comedy? Oh, it is one genre.
One genre,
it's
horror,
one-
action,
One
comedy.
genre. Okay.
Yeah, I would throw a little bit of science fiction in there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
do all
If
bring
possible.
our own skill sets, and that's what's unique about us.
hmm
Okay. Yeah.
So
we can't all memorize everything, so we each
Yeah.
memorize our own little thing.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. It's very similar to when.
Marty remembers like the first part of the word.
Mhm.
Julie's got
Okay.
the middle, and then I've got the
Back
end.
Okay, so it's kind
It's
of
sort
like
of
one of
a
those.
human centipede type situation.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
But with
shit.
videotapes. Okay.
Plus one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, plus one for you, but I've seen that movie.
I have.
I don't know if you
I,
have.
I saw it in Afghanistan.
Oh, really?
Did you
Wow.
really?
I saw a bootleg copy in Afghanistan.
with
Yeah.
like a
I
whole
saw
bunch of people.
some of the second one, but
Yeah, there was a small group of us. Yeah, we were. Yeah, it was.
What was
It was
the
probably a
pretty
smaller
quiet
group.
after that.
what
after
was
a
like
minute.
the group's consensus on that movie?
Everybody, and yeah, no, everybody agreed it was the most fucked up thing we'd seen up to that point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool.
it's accurate.
But yeah, no, yeah. But I mean, the fact that we were able to watch movies in Afghanistan,
It's pretty great.
because we found a little shop within our base that had a guy was selling. I mean, they were clearly all bootleg. There was nothing
Yeah.
like it was all copies of stuff. But you know, they would photocopy the covers and all that. And
Nice.
somebody would have, for whatever reason, picked it, and then we were like, all right, throw it on.
Was
And,
it
yeah.
was it the type of bootleg that was like in the movie theater that you would see shadows like getting up to go to the bathroom?
like
It
a
absolutely
cam.
was.
Nice.
It absolutely was.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
you get up the guy get up to go get popcorn, and they come back. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's great.
everything over there was almost everything there
kinda-
was like that.
Awesome.
I haven't seen one of those in so long, but I really like watching those where you can hear people talking
It's the
in the
best.
movie. I just
Yeah.
it's really cool.
The first time I ever saw Sam
That
Raimi's
does-
Spider-Man, it was a bootleg DVD
That I bought on New York streets and then loaned to you.
Yes, and it was that.
I used to buy a lot
walking around.
as a kid.
Yeah, you just walk down the street and there'd be a blanket with like 50 movies that are still in the theaters, like laid out, and you go, "Oh, and how much is that?" It's like $5 for a DVD.
You know, I'm just gonna put a question mark here on your application because I feel like you guys are gonna run some sort of bootlegging scam out of our store of like, like you're gonna take our tapes and record them and then be like, hey, if you want these like at half off, read me out back.
There's a
Marty's got a blanket out there.
Listen, we just want to wet our beaks a little bit. Come on,
Right, man.
Okay, that's fair. I know times are tough.
Yeah,
I get it.
Come on.
Inflation's high, so
Absolutely no way that we're going to open up the tapes and take them out.
No, no way.
Gotcha. Okay.
No way.
Uh,
Probably.
I'm gonna ask. Worst late fee. Somebody has $20 as a worst late fee.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, really? What movie?
Yeah.
What was the movie?
Oh man, I remember going and having to pay $20 because I had lost it, and I was lucky that it was only $20.
Ooh.
I can't remember what it was. I remember the video store. It was right around the corner next to the Chinese place, and it was when I was in high school.
Well, if you had to make one up, that's worth $20 losing.
Oh, dude. Well, losing it, that's just a bummer. That's just money down the drain. If it was one I bought for 20, that would be cool. But yeah, it's that is lost. All I remember is the pain of the loss of money.
So what are we talking? Is this 84, 83?
It would have been in the early 80s, yeah.
$20 is cheap.
Yeah.
I know. I was really lucky.
Because I got a $200 late fee from Video Review because they thought that I like lost theirs. But have no fear. I told them to check the deposit box, and then they found it. But it was almost a sad day. I left them in the drop box.
I remember back in the days when like, you know, like if you wanted a VHS copy of something, it was they already advertised it in Fangoria. So like you would see like you could get your own copy of Driller Killer, just $89.97 or something. And
right.
Jesus Christ. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And now it's so, I don't know. It's shocking.
Now that copy of Driller Killer is worth $95. You could have made $5.
That's right. Especially if it's Abel Ferrar signed.
I saved up all my money to buy Terminator.
To buy like your own copy?
$75. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Wow.
It was a time. Well, we try not to run up our prices at Top Shelf, so hopefully we're competitive with the street market. But so what we ask of all our employees, so we're really going to want you guys to sort of, you know, push movies to customers and bring your own, you know, what you can bring and try to bring in more customers. So we've asked you guys to pick a movie that we can review with you to see if it'll make our Top Shelf lineup of movies, you know, that we feel are great movies that we would really, really want to push on our customers and maybe have extra copies and just make sure that it's kind of out there. So do you guys want to tell us what movie you guys have picked for us to review today?
Let's huddle up over in the corner and then we'll make an agreement. All right. Eli, we'd be happy to tell you the movie, but if you just give us 1 second. All right, you guys now. Seriously. So you do this.
But I think this is
Two Force. Shove boat.
Okay. All right. We've talked and we have decided that we would like to recommend 1982's Raw Force.
Okay, we have that, so we can pull that off the shelf. We took a look at it, guys. I have to say, we're really have to go through this one and talk through it. I think this should be an interesting discussion about this movie. So, let's go ahead and we'll kind of kick it off. I think we'll just kind of run through I'll give actually, let me give a quick synopsis of the movie before we just spoil the shit out of this movie. I'll just read what IMDb has to say about it, which is, I feel like IMDb, I'm pretty sure it's not AI, but it's also a guy whose life force must be at like the absolute lowest, because it always seems like it is just like, all right, well, I have to watch all these movies, so I'm going to write like a little quick synopsis or something. Martial arts students visit an island with ghosts of dishonored fighters. They encounter a Hitler lookalike running a female slavery operation, leading to encounters with cannibals, piranhas, zombies, and chaos. Directed by Edward D. Murphy. Wow, this was directed by Eddie Murphy?
Yeah. So that's the best part is, like that's how you sell it, But then not only
that's why it's
Eddie Murphy.
That's why it's called Raw Force.
Yeah, I was to say he had a stand-up called Raw.
Got you. Okay. No. Wow, I did not see that correlation.
Wait, by that synopsis alone, this movie has it all.
It really
does. Incredible.
This movie does have a lot. You guys, your top genres were horror, action, comedy, and
check.
Boy, did this movie have that check. So I'm going to +1 you guys for at least keeping consistency on what you're saying.
Are boobs a genre? Because this also has that.
Oh yes, they are. Jeez.
Boy, this movie. This movie.
I had to close the blinds when I started this movie. My wife was like, "What the fuck are you watching?"
Yeah, and
these
it's not porn. It's not porn. I promise, it's not porn. It's
guys, just so you know, in these parts of Texas, like a lot of this stuff is not allowed. So we had to.
It's
we
not
had
allowed.
That's what I was doing while I was watching it. Trust me.
Yeah,
it's not allowed here
either. We
either.
had to VPN and mask our IPs, and there was a lot of workaround that had to happen to watch this movie. So just so you guys know.
Yeah, I don't want to get on a list.
Come on, Nord, save me now.
Yeah, and this episode is sponsored by VPN Nord. So
the one I use, no joke.
Let's run through a little bit of this movie. We're probably for anybody who's listening, we're going to probably spoil the show this movie, but we'll kind of run through. I'll kind of run through maybe some of the big moments of this movie, and then you guys can feel free to jump in and add any commentary as we kind of run through it, but. So this movie starts very, very interesting for me, just because most movies, when they have kind of like that cold open, where it's you really get the setup, and you can hear the producer saying, we got to start, with something, really got to draw in the viewer and make sure that they really, are wanting to watch this movie. And this movie starts in an airplane, like with like a very weird setup of like women just being ogled by a bunch of dudes that are just kind of laughing. And then like the logo for Raw Force comes out, and it's like, what is happening? Like,
wait, it's like monks doing like a funny evil laugh, like while like these women are being transported onto an island, like unwillingly.
Yes. And they are dressed
That airplane doesn't have air conditioning, because every single surface of human flesh in that thing is covered in sweat. It is just sweaty.
Yeah. Speaking of like that Good Times fan we had earlier, like this is very reminiscent of that sort of look and feel of just a tin can. And then, like I said, it's not the most glamorous opening. And then like the logo just kind of flies up and you're just kind of in it. And, yeah, Julia, like you were saying, these monks are dressed like Jawas from like Star Wars.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
they're if I was not told that they were monks, I'd be like, why are Jawas like in this like movie? I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah,
I actually thought these were the befores from Phantasm.
Exactly.
So before they get sent over to the other realm.
Just a little taller. Yeah, just a little
this
taller.
is them before they go through the warp and becomes the
I can see
smushed up
that.
dwarves. Yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of start with that. The plane lands, we're seeing these monks. We get to immediately meet our villain, this Hitler,
Himmler.
this strange Hitler guy.
Mr. Spear.
He looks like Himmler. Like,
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, is that more
the
what
head
he looks like,
architect.
Himmler?
Yeah, the head architect of the Nazi party.
Did he also have the little mustache?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
realize that.
He just,
okay.
he definitely like check it out. It's real weird.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Now that
So
you're
the
saying
kids
that,
would
yeah.
say he's giving Himmler is what he's doing. He's giving a real Himmler.
Yeah. Spear is the
Mr.
villain's
Spear.
name.
Yes.
What, he just like wants to collect like the jade?
Well-
Yeah, so it seems like he is basically like he is and so they don't really give you all that at the beginning other than he's dropping off these women, but he is getting jade or they're getting stones.
Yeah.
He's
And
getting the same
there's-
weight of jade as the
Yes.
weight of women they're
Yes.
taking in.
There's a scale.
And they do, even though the description says a female slavery operation, these dudes are cannibals and they're eating
The
these women
monks.
because the monks are eating the women because that allows them to do magic and summon the dead.
Yes.
So it isn't slavery, it's cannibalism.
Yeah, it's and yeah, I think only the Hitler guy knows this because the other people don't realize that until later. But it is funny because they apparently one of the slave women or I guess one of the meals that's in the cage gets pulled out because she's too skinny. She's not going to work.
one of the
which again
bipedal snacks.
Yes. Yeah, I guess appetizers and real meal have to be separated.
Yeah,
so you're talking like grade A beef to like just really like frozen, appetizer kind of thing.
Yeah,
I guess she's more the appetizer. Like
The
She's
lean
more
cuisine.
McNugget than Wagyu.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's it, Julie. You got it.
All right, +1 to Julie. But
That's a +2 at least. That was really
yeah,
good.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. +2. So she is separated. The appetizer is separated from the rest of the meal, and but then they are like, well, she can't come back because we've already kidnapped her, and she'll kind of give away the whole thing, and so they were like, well, just leave her here or whatever, and then she is shortly thereafter killed by. It's funny because they don't explain it at the beginning, but some guy just comes out of some grayish,
a gray,
warrior.
paled faced. Yeah.
Just comes
In
out
slow
of the
motion.
trees, and like, man, talk about like blood gore right from the beginning, just like splat. That would have been a great place to put the logo. I thought,
Yeah, it really would.
It would have been
good
much
call.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
would
Blood
have been
splat.
much better there.
Raw Force. Yeah,
All right, that's one for Eli.
Yeah. Okay, Mike.
Then
I
a
own the
whip
joint.
sound
Okay,
effect.
I get all the pluses. All right. You don't tell the boss about pluses. All right. Like, I run a
That's
tight
3
ship
off
here.
of mine there. So.
Mike, be cool. Be cool.
Dude, you're fucking this up for all of us.
So shortly thereafter, so you immediately cut away to just dudes in a taxi cab, and they're on their way to a cruise ship, and I love, I think I have this, so let me just sort of recite. One of the two guys that's in the taxi cab has a brochure. And he reads the brochure out loud. And this is, I believe I got it all here, but let me see if I got all this. So he reads the brochure and it reads, Warrior Island is supposed to be the burial ground of disgraced martial artists inhabited by a bizarre sect of monks, widely believed throughout the Orient to raise the dead warriors from their graves to repel attacks and threats from outsiders. The island was bypassed by the Imperial Army of Japan during World War II. And this is like in the brochure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the
That
guy's
everybody goes to it enough that they need a brochure for.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
but I'm like,
you're at
I
your
was thinking
travel
the
agent
same
going,
shit.
Monks
Warrior Island. This sounds
monks
cool.
have like an innate sense of tourism.
okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Clearly.
All
Yeah.
monasteries are the hottest places out right now. I mean, everybody's going to monasteries.
That's true. Yeah, it's a good point. And I would imagine in the 80s, we're seeing the early beginning of this before it really turned into a thriving royal. Those ships that sailed the Royal
Caribbean.
Caribbean, and all
Yeah.
these guys. Like, I mean, those are all run by monks, right? I'm pretty
Right,
sure. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Royal
And they
Caribbean
all,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all of them raise the dead.
yeah,
That's what people don't realize about cruise ships.
It's so important. You want to go into a place like Warrior Island before like Giuliani cleans it up, and it just changes it.
Exactly.
It's true.
It's like seeing Vegas in the 60s.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Yeah.
You don't want that Disney version of Warrior Island.
I
No.
love at the end though, like when they go to the cemetery and the like one dude, he's like, what did he say? He was like, this is where they bury those damn kung fu fighters. When he finally sees it from the brochure.
This movie has so much great dialogue. There's so many things. The thing where she's talking to Cameron Mitchell, and she goes, "Yeah, I'm going shopping. Do you need anything besides deodorant?"
Yes.
I was like, "Oh man, that is gold."
Well, on top of the fact that like the dubbing in this movie is incredible. Like I will say,
yes,
constant. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is a real gem of a movie when it comes to there. I mean, there's a lot of like Italian Giallo and all these other movies that have great dubs, but man, this one's a sleeper. If you were speaking like if you're doing a top 5 dubbed movies, this one's got to be like up there in the top 3 competitor. Not the Mike Tyson of dubs, but you know,
up there.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so pretty early on, we're like introduced to everybody. I love we get to meet like the captain of the ship, who's kind of like this bumbling, barely making it kind of guy he's very like Murtaugh in that he's like, oh, this is my last run. I'm ready to retire. That's right. Yeah. Wait, what was that?
Harry. That's
Harry.
his name.
Harry. That's right. And then I thought it was his first mate, but it's the cook who's like the Asian kung fu guy.
Yes.
Dude, he's the man.
Chin.
Yeah, Chin was the man.
That dude is a badass. He was definitely the best martial artist in the crew.
Yes, I was about to say, clearly the only person who actually knows martial arts.
Well, because the other...
Are you suggesting that Cookie does not know martial arts?
Wait, okay, so Cookie was part of the LA SWAT team. So...
Yes.
Yeah. But then the rest of the martial artists were from Burbank. So they were just
with the Burbank Karate Club.
That is a hotbed of martial arts.
For martial arts classes, right?
Yeah. I would guess they were doing like Taibo at best watching this movie. Like those moves were questionable.
It was more Tai No than Taibo.
Yes. Yeah. -1, 2. So yeah, I love just that whole like, hey, is this the boat that's going to like Warrior Island? Like it's such like a, it's like we're going to Walmart sort of thing. Like, it's just so nonchalant.
It's just a stop off on the way.
But wait, but also it's so sexy the entire time.
Oh,
the movie is never not sexy.
That boat?
Define sexy.
Mike had like the best descriptor of it. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, when we did it on Flickrs, we were talking about how Marty said something that it was like sort of a skeevy version of the Love Boat, because there's all these like disparate little stories. You're following all these sort of different leads. And I said it was more of a shove boat than a love boat, because there's nothing there's very little romantic about anything that's going on.
I don't know. That guy trying to get that girl's pants off.
Has he never operated clothing before?
And he keeps telling her, you need to relax. You need to relax.
Yeah.
Dude, she's not the problem.
Wait,
she's drinking the whole time.
Wasn't that the I Spit on Your Grave chick?
Was it?
Oh, was it?
No.
Maybe.
Yeah, I just remember from when we were doing podcast research forever ago, like we talked about that. One of you guys brought it up. Yeah, I believe so.
Well, I know that
Camille Keaton was the girl in Toilet, it says. Yes. And she was in Day of the Woman, a.k.a. I Spit on Your Grave.
Recall.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Julie, good job.
Impressive.
That's at least 2 more points for Julie.
Yes.
And something I didn't notice until watching it again, probably because I was watching it on a really nice Blu-ray and could actually see more, is that Jewel Shepard is in this, who is in Return of the Living Dead.
Really?
Oh,
yes.
Cool.
I didn't. Who is she?
She's like Drunken Bimbo, I think is maybe.
Oh, okay.
I really think like her credit is something like that. It's like,
she's the one that was like the playgirl, right? And that's like where
yes.
the
the
guy
one
was
who had
like,
this.
look around.
The centerfold?
Everyone
Yes,
just like
yes.
sold their soul, right?
Oh yeah,
She's
she's talking to the religious
sex
guy.
Wait, that's where he's
Drunk
like, this
sex
is the
bots,
devil's
that's right.
den. Look around. The devil's den.
yes.
That was such a surprise when it looked like that was going to be a thing, and then he's like clearly all religious and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then it just got weird.
Oh no.
I thought that was really cool, like a nice surprise. Like, what's that dude doing on this boat?
I thought that guy was somehow like, because again, we were in Texas, and I feel like somehow that guy made his way onto the boat through our like VPN or something. Because it's like, why is this guy like, you see, this is all the devil's work, like, and I'm like, what is going on?
He stopped off at the ship to drop off like some guideposts.
Exactly.
And then like it left port before he could get back off. And so like his bike is just sitting on the dock,
Yeah. I will say though, this boat looks like a shrimp boat. I mean, it barely looks like an actual like cruise ship of any kind when they show it from a distance. I'm like,
not a cruise ship. It's a tub.
Yeah, it is a tub with a rudder, basically. So yeah, what I do love though, right at the beginning, so as everybody kind of gets onto the ship, and we've kind of been introduced to everybody like within just a minute. The host woman, I forget her name.
Hope.
Hazel.
Is it? No,
Yeah. Hazel.
Well,
Hazel,
the
that's
actress's name is Hope. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hazel is like, oh, you're the karate guys. Maybe you guys should do a demo.
Yes.
And then like right afterwards, they're doing like a demo on the deck. And what I love about all these shots, especially, and I get it, the logistics of making a movie, but there's no effort into like, clearly the boat is not moving.
Right.
But they show shots of it like moving at a pretty good clip, and then they cut back to it and clearly it's just not moving. But so they're doing this demo, and like, I think it's like, is it Mike who's like walking around in a Speedo and his junk is just like, half of it's
right
like
there.
hanging out,
Yeah, it's right there.
It's got its own IMDb catalog.
It's here. It's a separate credit.
Yeah. So the dudes are fighting with their poles. No pun intended.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Which I love because like then they break out some windows and stuff, and the captain guy's just like, oh my God, like you're breaking my boat.
But
that glass is so clearly like not window glass.
The chef comes out.
Like,
but that's so cool
that's
though.
right.
It's like that's when
who
like
he's
you get
sparring with.
introduces us to the chef. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
chef.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because that's when I saw him initially, I was like, oh, he's like the first mate or whatever, and then it's like, no, he's the chef. And I was like, okay, like,
but on a boat that size, I know they had the big guy who was the radio operator who gets killed with an axe, and then there's the owner and the captain, and then really the only other crew member we really see besides the bartender with his fabulous hair is the cook.
Dude.
yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the cook is also like first mate in that situation.
I would be curious what this guy is paying these people, because he's constantly worried about not being able to make enough money on these cruises, yet he's only got like 4 people on his ship he has to pay. At most 3. So yeah.
I did read some trivia when they hired Cameron Mitchell for the job. The only way he would do it is if his girlfriend got to be in it too, and that's Hope Holiday, who played Hazel.
Oh,
so
okay.
they were a package.
All of that banter, that sort of
like
antagonistic banter.
That's real.
And I thought they were both great.
That's just good acting.
I thought they were both great.
Yeah. Well, Cameron Mitchell's, I mean, he's been in a lot of shitty movies. I've seen him in a lot of shitty movies, but he knows what he's doing.
But we've seen him be bad.
Space
He's
Mutiny.
really good in this.
Yeah, so the movie kind of moves on, and shortly thereafter, like we're now like, I guess they go to shore, and they're like, okay, we're gonna go shopping and food and whatever you guys want to do when we're on the mainland, and we quickly learn about Lloyd, who Lloyd is the husband of is it Anne? I think it's Anne, right?
I think it's
Anne's
Anne.
the blonde.
She could do better.
It's really wholesome and cute,
So,
and Lloyd is just an asshole.
Yeah. Lloyd, her husband, is just this absolute piece of shit.
Yeah.
I've never seen a character like this much of a piece of shit in a long time.
Yes.
Which I kind of love, because you're like, I wonder if this guy's going to die. This guy is clearly going to die.
I expected him to have a scene with the German guy and going, "Hey, spear, baby,
That's right.
who can take care of you?" You know,
Yeah,
Booby.
I'm your white knight.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. He was that much of a douchebag.
You're
Yeah.
not
He
wrong.
is like a physical manifestation of the magician from Frosty the Snowman.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Wait, but
I thought he had a little Mandrake the magician person.
But his
You what?
douchey level was incredible, where he's like, "Oh, honey, I'm gonna go soak my corns so I can dance with you later." And then he goes to a cat house to go sleep with a whole
That's
bunch
the
of chicks.
House of 1,000 something.
Specifically Palace of 1,001 pleasures. Yeah. 1,001. Like, it's like, I guess just that little bit of extra that you can only get in the South Pacific, I guess. I don't know.
It's a Filipino special.
Yeah.
Do they say they're in the Philippines? It's clearly shot in the Philippines. I know it was shot there. But
They
It
don't.
is shot in the Philippines.
They don't, but yeah,
that's
clearly.
that's where they're stopped. Yeah, that's where that stop's supposed to be, in the Philippines,
Right.
before they get to Warrior Island.
Yeah.
That dude,
which is clearly marked on the map.
Lloyd is in the Ed Wood movie Sinister Urge.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. That's one of the porn ones, isn't it? Or not?
Well, it says a flunky for a porno movie ring starts murdering the smut film's lead actresses.
Have you seen the box for the Ed Wood porno movies?
No.
Ooh.
Yeah, they've released a box set of just his adult films, and it is a hoot. You got to see the box
Interesting.
cover. It's great.
I might be able to put up a curtain for some of that in the shop. I don't know, Jaime, if you think we're that much of a family business, but
Then you better not have this movie in your shop.
No, we need bills paid, man. It is the reality of
But-
yeah,
business.
this is
But I don't know if Ed Wood's porno movies are the ones you want to start with.
well, everybody's into something. So,
Yes.
I've seen one of them.
yeah.
Erotic would not be an adjective I would use for it.
Neurotic, perhaps?
Yes,
Fair.
there's a lot of that.
So Palace of 1,001 Pleasures. Man, that's just so, like, I find it very interesting that, as crazy as this movie is, that somehow the writer was able to piece this whole thing together, that it actually kind of makes sense.
It does.
Where it's like, oh, well, of course, that's where they're getting the women that they're going to trade for Jade. So the Hitler guy is on his way there, and just so happens to be there when Lloyd and Mike are there. And I love how Mike is such a stand-up guy that he's like, no, I'm just going to have an adult beverage. I don't need to indulge beyond that. But I just happened to bring this brochure about Warrior Island with me.
Yeah.
Well,
You got it in
my
your shirt
reading.
pocket.
yeah.
Have
I
you heard
really
about
want
this?
to. I want to make sure I mark up all the places that I want to hit up on Warrior Island when we get there.
He was so cool though. Like when he talks to the girl who's married to the douchebag on the boat, he goes, "Oh, I apologize. I didn't realize I thought the lady was alone." And he is just like so respectful and kind and thoughtful and everything. And I was just like, this is shocking that this character is in this movie.
Well, and you expect that.
But after he strutted up in his little blue Speedo.
Where half his junk is like hanging out.
Bouncing left
Just
and right.
On display.
I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from a CPA.
Exactly.
So,
At least we know what the P stands for now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well played, Marty.
Yeah. So it's funny because there's a raid on the pleasure house. Well, a raid made to look like a raid, but they're not really cops. They're just there to steal women. And Mike and Lloyd are able to sort of get away. And so, which I thought was really kind of funny because it continues to sort of set up the whole premise of everything. So they go back to the ship, and the Hitler guy now realizes that people are trying to go to Warrior Island because I forget when they're in the cat house, and he overhears a little bit.
The brochure or something.
Well, no,
he's reading the brochure to one of the hookers.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yes.
he kind of
you're going to Voya Island. I don't think going to Voya Island's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Why would you do something so stupid?
That's right. You're going to fuck my shit all up.
I love that he does the classic, like, maybe you do this in the video store. I know people do this at conventions where you're kind of overhearing people, but you don't want to, you don't really want to force yourself in the conversation, but then you're like, is anybody here going to Warrior Island? And it's like, there's like one dude at the bar.
Right.
I love that. That was classic move, classic slide in, sort of into the conversation.
They clearly had like a system worked out, the bad guys, because they had their van and they would slide the signs off the side of it and it would say police.
Yeah.
So I think they were going around from cat house to cat house and just clearing them out as best they can. So this was just the next. It was a coincidence that the next one on the list was the one these guys were at.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool.
Yeah, but
it actually really worked.
But they're stealing women to give to the monks to power the dead.
To power their ability to raise
get jade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, because right around that time they explain all that, which is like they give them to the monks so the monks can cook them and eat them, because eating them, not specifically like, well, it had to be women. Mm-hmm. And it had to be female flesh. Mm-hmm. They had to be barbecued. I think Memphis style. It looked Memphis style. Yeah, I don't think
it was definitely more mustard based than that.
Yeah, it did.
It's whole hog.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like a slow turn. Here in Texas we do a little different, but it definitely had a different kind of sheen to it.
That's hilarious.
I was shocked that his little sidekick in the headband, that he was much better with the idea of them being barbecued than he was with the idea of them being boiled, because he brings it up like, are you sure they're not boiled? He goes, no, they're barbecued, and he goes, oh, okay, like, it's just barbecue.
That's acceptable.
Well, you know how bland things get when you boil them. I mean,
yeah, exactly. There's
so
no
funny.
flavor.
Like, morally, I'm conflicted. Oh, barbecue? Right. Okay, fine.
Okay, well, see, and that's what they were saying is like, in order for them to get the power to raise the dead, they have to eat the flesh. So I would imagine if it's too bland, then it's probably not enough.
It's diluted
flavor town to really, draw.
You need that donkey sauce.
Yeah.
I guess unless it's like a New York like street vendor hot dog, like where they do it in sauerkraut.
Well, that's Well, then you're just reheating it though. It's already
right. But you're on the go.
If you took them and made sausages out of them,
but they cook their.
You could throw those.
There's sausages.
You can throw
more of a Farmer Vincent.
Like
that's probably more of a thing, but that's more of like what the monks do, like when they have like a ball game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they probably make some frankfurters or some frankfurters and put them away for later.
You're thinking of Motel Hell.
Yeah.
I think if you're doing
Farmer Vincent's meats.
Yeah, if the monks are doing the street food, then it probably is for maybe smaller, like they're trying to raise dogs, from the dead or smaller animals.
Okay. I see.
You really need that big flavor, and you've got your Memphis barbecue, you got your Texas, Kansas City, and now we can add like Warrior Island monk, because it looked like they took a lot of pride in how I'm sure they probably do a wrap, with like paper and then foil, and then
if you don't
let it sit.
Look, they're going to hit like 180 and stall. It happens every time. You got to wrap them in foil, put them back on the smoker, and let it ride in foil for another 3 or 4 hours. Then you'll get up to about 205, and then it really breaks down.
Mike, I'm going to plus to you for your knowledge on barbecue, especially women barbecue, because I feel like
that's his area.
Yeah, I feel. Yeah,
so
I'm feeling the vibe.
This is more like
sweet.
Auntie Lee's meat pies, is what I'm hearing.
Oh,
it's in that ballpark.
Sure, yeah. More flavor though. I think
we do get
big bold flavor.
One actual scene of barbecued woman consumption.
Yeah,
in the movie.
That is true.
And
I will say that
so bloody. Like it's been cooked and they're eating it and they're just like covered in blood. Like
clearly they didn't deal with the stall. They didn't do the foil wrap. That's the whole thing.
But also, like once it's cooked, there's not going to be that much blood unless you just barely heated it up. And
as a quick aside,
not that much blood.
Auntie Lee's meat pie is the greatest scene of gas being pumped in any movie.
Oh.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that is good.
The greatest scene. Just take that
It's
under
right up there
advisement.
with.
I mean,
Okay.
yeah, and
Noted.
Isn't it-
Noted.
Stephen Andros.
Isn't
has
it,
like a great head chop off, right?
Quadros,
Quadros.
right?
Sorry, I did say Andros.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't it the Friday the 13th part 2 that has the girl in the little shorts walking through the woods and the camera just rides along behind
Oh
her?
my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that Auntie Lee's Meat Pies is right up there with that.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
The gas station pump scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's like the car wash in Cool
All
Hand
right.
Luke.
Speaking of pumps, these women
Yeah.
on this cruise, they brought totally the wrong shoes. And that one poor girl was running through the jungle
In her
a
heels?
high-heeled pair of sandals. Well, I guess they were wedges or whatever, but
I
still,
love
she
that.
was struggling. And I kept, the whole time I was going, she's going to break her ankle. I was like literally worried about this actor.
No,
I think
that's,
it's
that's a
method.
basic issue for Burbank Karate Club
Yeah.
attire. I mean, it seems
Dress code.
appropriate.
Right?
Are you
shocked
suggesting
they
there's
let
not a
him-
lot of jungles in Burbank?
Look, no street shoes on the gym floor. All right? That was always a rule in high school.
That's
in,
fair. Yep.
junior high.
Yep.
Did anybody take note of who Lloyd's wife is?
Was that
The
Anne?
actress. And
Yes.
And Jennifer Holmes.
when I kept looking at her thinking how familiar she was. She is from season 1 of Newhart. It's before Julia
Okay.
Duffy. Before Julia Duffy comes in as whatever her character's name was. I'm trying to remember. It was because it was
Did she play the same character?
no
Leslie Vanderkellen?
She was Leslie Vanderkellen, and then when she leaves, they bring Julia Duffy in because the
Okay.
diner, the Minuteman Diner next door, the guy Kurt that runs the Minuteman Diner is obsessed with Leslie Vanderkellen, and she won't give him the time of day.
Man, you are saying things that I know mean something, but I don't remember any of that.
Okay, that's a significant show. I have a real Bob Newhart affinity, and that show is very significant to me. So
I have a well, I'll tell you later, but I do have a story about that that would go on for way too long. But
okay,
so now that we've covered how we would barbecue our women, so I love, like, right after this, there's like a big montage of, like, so I guess there's like an evening on the ship where
Right.
there's going to be party and dancing and everything, and
Little mixer.
we kind of move into what appears to be the inside of that Good Times van from earlier, of like wood paneling and shag carpet inside of the ship somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great. When there's water, you want a lot of shag carpeting on
Yes.
something that's out at sea. Yeah.
Salty water. Yeah. There's just nothing, to really bake in that shrimp smell from the back of the ship.
well, you know how they have, like, on the cruise ships, they have like the promenade suite and the that kind of stuff. That is the wood panel shag carpet is called the stabbing cabin.
Okay. Yeah. It's a big stabbing cabin. It was quite large. I guess for
You know what's going on in there.
Hilarious.
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we get to see what's going on in there.
Yes,
you get
we do.
shrimp and fish smell, like, baked into that, carpet. It's funny because the movie kind of gives you this, like, moment of, like, we're just going to set up this sequence so that we can have a series of mini montages of, like, the bartender and, like, going to the other room, the guy's having a birthday party, and all these things that sort of are all happening at once, which makes it very confusing if you haven't kept up with who the characters are.
Yes.
Because you're like, wait, whose birthday? Like, what's going on?
Well, and some of those people are only in those scenes. That guy that is talking to the girl who's fabulous, who had a mobster boyfriend and who she killed.
Who killed?
That's the only time we see those two people, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great little scene.
Oh,
that
the one
sequence is hilarious.
that was talking about how she's divorced, but she's, like, kind of accused of murder.
She didn't say divorce. She just said she left her boyfriend.
Okay.
And then it was like, oh, like, are you guys divorced? And she's like, yeah, you could say that. And so it was very like, oh, well, is he, this or that? He was in the mob, and, like, I may have, like, a warrant out for my arrest.
That was hilarious.
There's a little warrant for my arrest.
Yeah, it was like for a stupid
on
little
murder.
murder or something.
Yeah,
Stupid
that's why I'm
little
on this
murder
cruise.
warrant.
Yeah, to get away.
No big
I
deal.
thought it was great.
Yeah. She's very nonchalant about it. Yeah. I would have liked more of her in the movie.
She was funny.
She was great.
She was great. I thought the guy was great, like reacting to her statement. I thought all of that was fun. Just little asides.
So are we assuming that all those people that just had those little scenes, but they're not on the island? Or is it assumed that all those people just died
on the cruise?
Yeah, they went down with the boat.
With the boat, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was only just the ones that made it on just the ones that made it on the island, because that was not everybody on the boat.
No.
There was a hell of a lot more people.
We got to see, like, the radio operator got axed in the back.
Oh,
and that other woman got an arrow in the back. And let me tell you, that guy had a quick fire crossbow because he shot her and then immediately fired again with a fucking crossbow. I was like, wow, pretty impressive.
But that was pretty crazy.
It's pro move.
Because they just
he
showed
has
up
the
on
extended magazine.
A rowboat. Some bad guys showed up on a rowboat armed with like gasoline and arrows.
Yeah.
And
so
painted
I will say,
in like war paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, so when the henchmen show
it's like
up,
the island.
And okay, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost seemed like the village people were like attacking the ship because one guy has a construction hat, another guy has a motorcycle hat with a swastika on it. It really was like I was expecting in the Navy, like kind of as
that would have
been
appropriate.
Because that was, again, I feel like this whole sequence in this part of the movie, which is like I feel like the most meatiest part of the movie. They are basically setting everything up to allow us to watch more kung fu, or kung fu. White people kung fu, because like those moves were very like.
That's a great way to put that.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a lot of hiya. Yeah, I think as Marty was mentioning earlier,
it was
cracker food.
Yeah, Cookie gets involved and she's like hiya, and then like everybody else is like, they make these weird like you can hear their instructor in Burbank telling them, so make sure when you punch that you give a, hua, or a ha, and the only guy that, who's actually good, the cook, is it Chin?
Chin.
Yeah. He's the only guy that's like, I mean, that guy's got some moves. He's doing flying side kicks and like roundhouse and
he's fantastic.
He's awesome, and everybody else is kind of like
he was like channeling Bruce Lee and stuff. Some of his
his attire. Yeah, there was a lot of I felt a lot of Bruce Lee, imitation, I guess, or inspiration, I should say. Maybe not imitation, but very very inspired BruceLee moves going on with the chin.
I almost thought that maybe he was like a Bruce Lee or Lai.
Oh, one of the knockoffs.
I thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was one of the knockoffs. I had to double check because I was like, he's got moves, and I could see him doing that because his shirt was always open too. Like he always just like
ready.
Like he's like prepping carrots and potatoes in the back. Then he's like, "What's going on out there?" And he comes out and he's like, God damn it! Like I'm trying to prep back here, and you guys are like, so he always has to jump into the fight.
My souffle fell, you bastard.
Exactly.
He's the only martial artist who can shift a nod with his hand.
Did you guys notice when the big John Taylor guy who hurt his ankle, when that woman was like rubbing his foot looked like it was made out of like hamburger meat or something. It was just a big club. I was like, wow, that is grotesque. Put a shoe on that. It was horrible.
Yes.
Who was the woman who was tied up on the bed?
That was that was the mob
murder. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know who the actress is.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But she was great.
She was like something.
Yes.
Oh, there's so much of that in this movie. Just the throwaway shots of like the Filipino strippers.
Yeah.
Where it was just clearly like completely naked, like camera like right up in there, and it was like, yes, sir.
How many transitions do you think there are in this movie where a scene ends and it like just hard cut to like breast,
a butt,
or a butt, or just.
Well, there were so many things. There was one moment when they wash up on the island where like they're talking, and then it just cuts away to a slow motion fire, like that real jittery slow motion fire burning. for no visible reason. My assumption was they had one take of that talk and they needed to cut out some stuff, so they just put in a cutaway thing so that they could remove a piece of dialogue. But I don't know why it was there. But there was a ton of that sort of just nonsensical shit. But
the fire bar
made me not love it.
Like all the fire bar work when the ship was on fire.
Oh my god!
Was
When it
with the bad
cool.
masking.
when it initially went on fire,
yes.
it looked like all of a sudden the film just exploded.
Yes.
Yeah, I will give props.
It's like, are we shooting on nitrate?
I don't know. I will give props to whoever did have to go through and do that overlaying of the fire, because you can see it kind of moving off of like somebody went in there and like very articulately cut all that so that to make sure that they could overlay that on the film. Yeah. And you can see it move, like you can see the masking kind of move a little bit.
Right.
But for a minute there, I was just like, man, that's for 1982.
And for that budget.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. Pretty good.
Yes. For that budget, I was like, like somebody was like, I would imagine somebody at ILM was like, you know what? We could use that one guy as an intern. Like of this whole movie, there's one guy who's really good at cutting masks. Let's hire that guy. Yeah.
Look what he was able to do for $5 and 5 minutes with an optical printer.
He's in school right now and he's free.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hell, that dude might be teaching now, you know.
That's true. He probably invented like some sort of feature of Photoshop. Yeah. And it's like, I don't ever want to. I don't ever want to
Oscar
do this.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess when he passes away and they show like all the people that have passed a year, they're going to show the fire sequence from like Raw Force of like, you know, visual effects supervisor guy.
It'll be so obvious why he won. So one thing that I think this movie does better than a lot of movies is the different villains, the henchmen. There's the Superman guy. You know, there's the red bandana guy. There's like, you know who these people are. The guy with the war paint on his face. So there's all these. They make them memorable by giving them sort of something. It's like Road Warrior, where you have Wes and you have the other guy and stuff. So it's like, you know, you kind of know, oh, that's the bad guy,
right?
Like visual shorthand.
Yes. Yeah, I do appreciate the Superman guy with the sword who's constantly just like screaming. Like, I don't think that guy had any dialogue. I think he just screamed the whole time, and he would wave his sword around like Napoleon.
How about his escape technique of climbing a ladder, waiting until the guy gets almost to him, and then jumping off the ladder back?
That's
down
right. Like one overs him, and then jumps off the boat, and then like the cook is like, damn, like he kind of fist pumps, but he's also like, that was a good move. Like he kind of gave him props for that. Yeah. So I guess that whole sequence leads us to the few survivors, because they pretty much butcher everybody on the ship. Right, and that leads us to the Titanic moment where they're all like in a raft, and they eventually just raft their way or I guess stumble their way onto Warrior Island. Which is pretty hilarious, because it's just kind of like, well, of course, like where else did you think you were going? And they realize that they make it. Speaking
of optical printing, the fog that is optical printed over them and then over the island is really great. Great.
That was probably not the same guy. I don't know. Maybe.
No masking though. It was just full screen, just fog. So,
or that could have been if him working at like 5 a.m. because he had been working all night, and he's like, you know what? There it is. Like, all right,
there's your fire. Fire looks good. Here's your fog.
Yeah, here
I'm not getting paid enough to worry about this.
Yes, I worked really hard on that fire, and I'm not doing the fog. Like, I'm done.
Chen might have done it. Who knows?
It's true.
You know that he's covering all the bases. He's first mate. He's cook. Hell, he might be doing the optical printing.
Yeah.
Chen, the actor Ray Malonzo, is in like
obviously a traditional little Chinese name.
Yeah, but he is.
Yes,
I'm assuming it's a Filipino name because he is in 90 movies, and quite a few of them they're directed by Sergio Santiago.
Nice.
Okay.
And so we have seen this man before.
Oh, 100%. Sure. Well, and Vic Diaz, who's in this, we've seen in a number of
as soon as they show that smile, I've seen him in a Jack Hill movie or 12. You know, the head monk.
Yeah, this movie, it's funny how the last part of this movie just sort of, once they like are on the raft to the island, like everything that's described in IMDb happens in the last like 20 minutes of this movie. Like,
Yes.
Totally.
we haven't really seen the warriors. Oh, and I should note, because I made a note for myself. It's not just warriors it's disgraced like
Yes.
martial artists, which I'm not sure what that means in terms of like, is that like in Bloodsport when like the guy kicks the other guy in the balls and they're like, dude, you're out. Like, we don't do that and we don't allow that. Like,
No hitting below the belt.
right. What, I don't know. I'm not sure I understand what like
qualifies you as dishonored.
dishonored, right? Like,
Yeah, like all of the
Julie, do you have a handbook on this?
Yeah, like all the dick hits immediately go to Warriors Island.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's-
Oh, wow.
okay. Is there anything else? I mean, is it just dick hits or?
I think that's it. You know, like anything other below the belt kind of extremities. Like,
What if you
Because
steal
that-
from your daimyo?
ooh, okay.
All right, I have a question.
I mean,
Say
the-
That
you're-
don't play.
all right, say
The only
you're-
thing I was going to mention, Julie, though, is in this case, based on your qualifications, your man Jean-Claude would be going to this island because in
100% he would.
Bloodsport he full like uppercuts like
Oh.
a dude right in the nuts.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like Bolo Young. Yeah, like he kind of like
Yeah.
deserved it a little bit.
But he was asking
But
for
yeah,
it.
but also like to be clear, like Jean-Claude Van Damme has dick hit somebody in almost every single one of his movies, which is wild.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's like kind of his move.
That's like a move
But
for him.
besides the helicopter like spin, that is his move. Yeah, so
Okay. I
Jean-Claude
just
like
wanna
make sure
really
you're
okay
is
with
at
this.
that island. I am okay with that because you know like technically like Dolph Lundgren's my dude, but like Jean-Claude Van Damme, I love him for his character.
Well, so Julie,
And
is
insanity.
he so fond of doing the splits as a way of like sort of just going, here's mine, but you can't hit him? Like they could not be more exposed. And it's like he's going, hey y'all, hey y'all,
Neener.
and nobody can get to that. Is that part of that? Is that a combo?
I mean,
Like I hit yours, you can't hit mine.
I guess
it's kind of flaunting. I can see that.
Yeah, I think it's totally.
Does that mean
fun.
that there's a larger island for non-nut hunters or hitters,
Not hitters.
like kind of that's on the cruise line, but further down, right?
And
Which-
they're not disgraced. They're
not
actually
disgraced. No,
noble, celebrated warriors.
and they're
So if
probably
you-
Totally
if you're-
different island.
right.
Yes.
It's probably, it's
Well, if
probably
you're
nuns.
fighting, say you're fighting Mike in this movie.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're fighting Mike and you like kick him in the ankle, you could conceivably be doing like a dick hit.
Oh yeah,
So-
you could. But you're going to break your fucking foot kicking him in the ankle.
True.
Because I don't know if you saw that club. That looked like
I
some
did.
kind of John
I did.
Merrick shit. I don't think you're going to kick that and survive.
Okay. So that
I didn't know
island
John
has,
Merrick was notoriously like
Well, he's all lumpy and everything.
had a huge hog there. I didn't know.
Weird bones.
so
The elephant hog.
non-disgraced island is run by nuns, right? Or
Yes.
So
Yeah,
it's
Mary
nuns,
Tyler Moore is there.
right?
Sally
okay.
Field.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot more
I
sense.
want to go to this island. If
Yes,
those
that island
people
sounds
go.
better.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so
I don't
like,
know. I will say though, because like when they get to the island and then there's they have the whole fight like in the cemetery with the henchmen, but then they run into the Jawas again or the Jawa
Right.
monks or whatever, and then they feed them like a badass meal. Like it's because
They
they
do
tell
stop
them
and break bread. That's right.
and the graves.
this
Yeah.
is a
talking.
genuine, no holds barred jungle feast.
Yes.
I think, or
Yeah.
something like that is what the guy said. So I wanted to just go back briefly. So, like, isn't the guy in Shogun Assassin? He's a disgraced martial artist, isn't
well, he's a Ronin, right?
Ooh,
Yeah.
he? Right. That's what I mean. So that's sort of what we're talking about here is dudes
Well,
like that who've turned against.
But he
their
probably
leaders.
wasn't a nut hunter, a nut hitter though. I
No,
mean,
but that's what I'm saying. It was I think there might be other ways that you could get sent to this
Well,
island.
wait. So would that be more of like a spaghetti western, morally ambiguous like person?
Anti-hero.
Yeah, I love that.
Ah, okay. Snake
Yeah.
Plissken. if you will.
Yes.
Yes. Now you're talking.
Cool.
so they are like at the top of the mountain, maybe. Like
I would
it's,
say they're
you
at the
know,
top.
I don't know. Okay, so they've
This
got a
is-
nice view.
Yeah,
of
nut hitters are below
all
them.
the.
Like Jean-Claude
okay.
is
Yeah, that
definitely
makes
below
sense.
them.
Yeah, he's like right off the
So
shore.
They're like the
stratified.
scrotum.
I didn't know there was this many layers.
Yeah. So okay, yeah, no, that makes
Gross.
sense. So like when like high tide rolls in, it's a good chance that like a lot of these guys is like parts are going to be sticking out of the ground because
you're
they're
gonna
pretty low down.
That's when you start losing the nut tuggers when the
that's
tide
fair.
rises.
All right,
That's fair.
We've got it. We've figured it out.
Okay, yeah, I think it's been ratified. So I love how like they fight these dudes in the cemetery. There's like a big shootout, but then like as soon as it's over, and they turn around, and the monks are like they've just been there the whole time. Like apparently they're like
Check
5 feet from them, and then they're kind of like laughing their little Jawa like little things.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, they're like, hey, why don't you just come with us? Like, and then they're talking about how like you shouldn't be here, you weren't invited, and they were like, hey, we didn't have a choice, right? Our boat, our boat failed, and they're like, okay, well, you can stick around, or we'll help you if you fight our warriors. And that's when we are introduced to the warriors of the dead, I guess, or the nut hitters. Yeah,
rise.
Yeah. Well, and that's when we finally like they offer a meal to the remaining survivors, and they're eating good. But then they show them the Jawa monks,
and they are really
feasting. Oh yeah, man, they are going to. It's man that thing has been cooking all day, like low and slow. Yeah. I mean they're getting the bread in there and picking up all that extra juice.
Literally dipping the bread in the juice. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
so gross.
Yeah.
Sopping that stuff up.
I forgot though. I guess during the YMCA like guys like invading the ship earlier, they kidnap one of the women, and take them. I forget. It's one of the other blonde women, and they take her back because she's also going to be part of like a future barbecue.
It's Cookie's cousin.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Elaine, I think is what it was, or something like that. So they're looking for her. They're having their meal. They start like doing their like heavy metal, like sort of chanting for rising the dead now that they've had like their full fill of barbecue. And I kind of love like, I mean, if I was in a heavy metal band, I would probably start with their chant as the intro, and then seeing the hands come out of the ground and everything. Cause like, I have to say that whole thing was kind of epic. It was
awesome.
very like,
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely epic. Very zombie is what it reminded me
of. If I was in a heavy metal band,
zombie.
based on what you've said, Eli, if I was in a heavy metal band, we would be called the Jawa Monks.
Okay. Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
That's an awesome heavy metal band name.
Well, you got 2 drummers, so you can.
Of course.
We'd be happy to help you out.
I literally watched this movie like 2 hours ago, and I'm struggling to remember how that girl dies that he dips the bread into her blood. How does she die? Because she's there and she does like a scream and does something and then just drops over dead.
Is that Cookie's cousin?
No, it was another one.
No, they rescue her.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you guys remember that? Because the woman, she falls to the ground and there's a puddle of blood, and then the guy dips the bread in it and goes, much. This is delicious. But like, I don't remember what kills her, but it was almost like black magic, sort of they put the hoodoo on her.
Yeah.
Anybody remember?
Yeah, you're right.
It literally has flown from my
Well,
brain.
they never really show any of the victims that are going to be cooked being dispatched, do they? They
show that one woman being like basted with the Cookie's cousin. She's being basted with that palm frond where they're
that's true.
I think
That's
it's just
true.
honey and balsamic on
black
there.
magic, like that just makes her like
I think
pop
so.
out. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, because she just falls over and starts bleeding, and that guy sops up her blood. Okay, sorry for the aside. I couldn't remember.
Well,
it's
I mean,
a missed opportunity that they didn't have it as Cookie's Italian cousin Biscotti or something.
Yeah, that's true. +1 to Mark. So, yeah, I love how like I almost am disappointed that there's not enough Dead Warrior versus like everybody else. Like,
right.
There is some, and you kind of get a little bit of that, but I was like, the first time I ever watched this, I got to watch this at the Alamo Drafthouse with a theater full of people because it was part of their secret screen series. So none of us knew what we were about to watch.
Okay.
And this movie came on, and all of us were like,
dude.
what is happening?
Yeah.
As we're eating like barbecue and pizza and stuff, from the menu at the Alamo Draft House. And we're just kind of like, what is this? And then like, we're all waiting for these like Warriors of the Dead. And then they show up and then they're kind of gone before like the whole thing's kind of over, which a little bit of a disappointment, but at the same time, like, I think the ride to get there was just fine.
It would have been really cool if like there was one really badass disgraced warrior. Like maybe you see
like
that
boss.
one,
Right?
Yeah,
bigger,
the big boss.
stronger.
Yeah.
Right. So there's like all these other guys are fighting and they're easily dispatching them, and this guy's just killing people and coming down, and it's going to be this one ultimate showdown. That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I could just see him like ripping his
They were
nuts
just
out
faceless.
and then showing them to people about like just how
Right.
how he
He's
just
got
doesn't
a
care.
necklace made of testicles.
Yeah,
From all
there
these
you
he
go.
crushed. Yeah.
Yeah, like Universal Soldier, Dolph Lundgren.
I,
with
Yes.
I was
ears.
thinking the same
Yeah.
thing. With the ears, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Or
amazing.
Walking Dead. Walking Dead. Daryl
and
Dixon had a
Platoon.
string of ears. A
Oh,
lot
really?
of people have
Okay.
done this.
Okay.
Didn't it wasn't. Oh shit! I don't remember which character had the ears. Was it Elias in Platoon?
Oh, dude, I've
Like
seen
Tom
that one
Berenger?
time. Oh, I don't
Ooh,
remember.
can't remember that.
Oh,
I remember
yes.
it, but I've only seen it once.
Really?
Because he was a bad man in that movie.
Yes,
Yes.
he's all scarified and
Ooh.
everything.
Yes.
I don't know, but the thing that I could
Uh,
relate to the most was like at the end when Harry, the pilot, was just like, I'm going to do this Clint Eastwood move that I saw in a movie. And then he just like does this like shootout, and he gets like a couple rounds off until like everybody pulls him off screen.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're about to die. But he makes it, I don't know
Yeah.
if he
I
hit
lo-
anything.
I burst out laughing when Spear jumps up suddenly, unannounced, from behind a tombstone with a
With
RPG.
a rocket launcher.
I
Yes.
was like, this is the funniest thing I have
Yeah,
ever
get
seen.
it.
And all he shoots are trees. He shoots 2 trees.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say that
Correct.
nothing screams more 1980s than the over-the-shoulder bazooka tube
For sure.
Yes.
that we saw in this movie. Like I almost questioned whether that was a real thing, when
Yeah.
I was a young kid, because I don't know if you remember this, Jaime, but I remember we used to like get Dad's PVC pipe and put bottle rockets like in
Oh,
them
yeah.
so that we
Yeah,
could.
we would
Oh,
shoot
yeah.
him over there. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did that.
But I was like, if I can do this, then there's no way that the army has like I don't, I don't think this is like a real thing until I found out it is a real thing. But it always seemed like a Hollywood prop thing to me because I saw it in so many 80s movies that I was like, that can't be real.
Now, did you guys ever do the tennis ball cannons? We would take tennis balls. They came in like the tall metal cans.
Yeah.
You cut the bottoms out of like 2 or 3, and then leave the bottom in one, and you duct tape those all into a big tube, and you make a hole near the butt end, and you squirt lighter fluid down in it and wave it around to fill it with fumes. You drop a tennis ball down in there and just touch a match to the hole, and it would like that tennis ball would. We lost so many tennis balls because they would just fly into the woods, and we'd never find
That's
them.
funny.
Okay.
Really
love
safe.
that.
Jaime, regardless of what comes out of this, we're hiring Mike for sure. But we'll-
Hey, just,
security.
That's
just,
hilarious.
If nothing
Yes.
else.
make,
yeah, just for
make sure
security
you're-
purposes. Yeah.
You just got to make sure your fire insurance is paid up.
I
No,
remember.
Wait, so
I remember years ago talking about the land parties and like all the stuff that we used to do.
Right.
I remember Marty and I. This was '93, maybe, in Home Depot.
Oh, yeah.
And we were walking around, and I was in the plumbing department buying all the little fittings and tubes and stuff that I needed
Yes.
to take a
So we could make a
Fruitopia
ball.
bottle and make a hookah out
Whoa.
of it. Yes. So
I
and
still
Marty,
have those parts. In
There was I think there
cabinet.
was a MacGyver reference in that
that's
interaction
hilarious.
Yeah.
when I was like
worked
fishing
like
up
a
all
charm.
the bits. It did.
It worked like so. I'm still working.
Wait,
Yeah.
so do you think that the rocket launcher was just because that this came out the same year as Rambo or The First Blood? What, both were 82?
I would bet because it was shot in the Philippines and those guys down there who
Yeah.
had been part of like 100 movies. They had a room full of machine guns,
Okay.
rocket launchers and jeeps and shit like that, and they just said, "All right, here's our kit," and they just brought it out.
Yeah, half of the shit in this movie we've seen in serious Santiago movies.
100% we have.
Like the same gear, the same guns.
M16s, the same,
Exactly.
all that stuff.
And people. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Same stunt
100%.
people.
Background.
Every time somebody flew through the air where it blew up, it was some guy that we've seen fly through the air before.
So yeah, the movie basically wraps up at that point. I mean, there's tons of fights and things that I do
haven't
like.
mentioned piranhas yet.
Oh, I was about to say the two things that are kind of funny that sort of wrap up the end is like Lloyd dies because Lloyd is he's
Thank God.
sorted in the back, and then you're like, oh well, he's gonna die, even though I would have expected him to die in a more violent and gruesome way.
But also,
and
a lot
he
earlier.
basically consents. Well, yeah, I would have expected that too. But it's almost like he consents, like, okay, you guys can have each other. Ugh. And then he dies, and I love that he does that between Mike and Anne, and then he's like he goes to hell or wherever it is he's going, knowing that these two are going to go on forever, and then he's like, ugh. So he may have had a heart attack for all we know.
You know what? He might be on the correct island, being a
That's true.
disgraced warrior.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So,
Was he a warrior?
Yeah, he doesn't get that. status.
sort of, kind of. He did steal that gun and try to shoot somebody.
That is
one
true.
point.
Yeah, he was a dick.
That
earlier,
makes
and
him
he was
brave,
really-
not a warrior.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Okay. The only poetic justice there could have been for Lloyd was to have been killed by a woman.
Ooh.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
Love that.
That's what I think should have happened because he was a
Or to
piece
have
of
his
shit.
dick cut off or something.
Yeah,
would've
that
been-
guy was about
Yes.
as Texan as you could get. And then towards the end, as they're trying to get onto the plane, and that's funny because I remember Harry and Hazel are
Right.
who at the entire time have been at odds at each other because it's like, you don't pay me enough and we don't
Right.
make enough and I can't pay for all this shit. They find the jade and they're like, we're fucking rich. So
We're going to get another boat and keep working. It's gonna be
yeah,
great.
we're going to keep doing this forever. So they load the jade because they find the plane that the Hitler guy has been using. And they find it while he's not there. So they were like, oh, we found a way to get off the island. And so they start loading up the plane. I love that because then all hell breaks out towards the end where everyone's trying to get to the plane. The warriors are coming out of they're coming out of the jungle. They're
Right.
trying to start up the plane because Mike or one of the other guys, like a former Vietnam pilot or something. And so
Yeah, he flew helicopters.
yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about the piranha because it almost comes out of nowhere and somehow it's in the IMDb descriptor
Right.
as if it's a big plot point, which it's not. But I love it is the Hitler guy who's he's on the dock trying to get onto this airplane. And I think I don't remember, he gets pushed or
he jumps off the plane to get away from because they're
that's
fighting in the plane.
In
That's
the
right.
plane, right. He hits
Yeah.
him
And
I
with
guess
a piece of jade, and then he
that's
just
right.
goes and jumps in the water.
Yeah, he just
That's
jumped in the
right.
water, clearly not having read IMDb,
No.
Right.
and so he jumped in to try to get away, and then the piranhas just swarm on him.
yes.
I think it's also in that brochure. I think it had a big red warning.
Yeah.
It may
piranha
have, yes.
on it.
It may, yeah. So I mean, really, it's on him, and that's I don't think that they're going to be able to claim that on insurance. I mean, if he had known,
No,
or at
that's
least-
user error. That's not.
I mean, you agree to terms and services when you go on those cruises,
Exactly.
I'm sure. So, but yeah, he gets gobbled up by piranha. It's almost like Roger Corman was like, "Hey, I got some piranha footage."
Is
You
that
guys
not
would
the
like-
same footage? I swear to you.
It looked like the same
It looked
footage.
Exactly.
pretty familiar. Yeah.
I mean,
that's like Doug Beswick and like Rob Bottin built that shit.
Yeah.
And they had them on. The only way they could make
right.
them work was they had like rods and they put them in columns and had the rods and would move them through
Yeah.
the water so that they would move like a school of fish.
Yeah.
So, as kids, I remember watching Tarzan, and there would frequently be things where animals would go into the river and it'd be full of piranha, and you'd get to see that sort of thing, and then there would like a carcass would float in the water. Uh-huh. That shit was so awesome and terrifying to me. It was like quicksand. It was like, you know, those were the two things you had to watch out for out in the wild. Yes. Piranha, quicksand, because it's
outside
everywhere.
of North Carolina, the world was full of piranhas and quicksand.
Yes. I actually think maybe there was some piranha and quicksand in North Carolina, because I definitely had my head on a swivel for that shit. So.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much just wraps up the movie as a whole.
Or does it?
Or
it's to be continued.
To be continued. That's right.
Man, I would 100% watch it if that existed.
I know.
Right, because there has to probably be a medium well force or a well done force or something. I'm sure. Or we have an idea on our hands for Top Shelf Video presents if we were able to get into the business of making movies.
So I'm going to go ahead and suggest, how about a Force Tartar? That might be good.
See, I was
thinking
I'm thinking Raw Persuasion.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Get a little more highbrow, like sophisticated.
Yeah, I could see that. Julie, I'll let you run with Nut Punch, the movie.
Nut Punch Island.
Yeah, you can produce and direct that one if you'd like. It'll be in the same universe as all these movies.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They rebrand. They rebrand like Warrior Island as Nut Punch Island.
That sounds exactly like a reality show that would exist.
It does. Yeah,
probably does.
Okay, has anybody watched MILF Manor?
No.
Is that a
no? But my friend,
it's a thing that you shouldn't watch,
and it sounds.
But I watched
awesomely
it.
Bad.
So they have a big fancy house, and they bring in all of these older women who like to have sex with younger guys, and then they bring in all these younger guys who are the sons of all these women. So all these women are now sleeping with their other women's younger sons.
What the shit?
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
I know. We're a fading empire, and our time is short.
Wow,
so, yeah. It's terrible.
That is awful.
I made it through about one episode before I was like, "Yeah, this is not good."
That's why we need the video store, because we need any more of that. All right, well, here
it's the equivalent of the literary salon.
Yes.
yes. As I confer here with my business partner Jaime, I think we've come to the point now where we have to decide whether this movie is a top shelf movie or not. Have you thought, before you say that out loud, Jaime, have you thought about, I think you've seen this twice now? This is your first time seeing it, right?
Yeah, this was my first time watching it. I did watch it again last night because I watched it before we rescheduled. But I hadn't heard of this one. So I went in blind. I didn't IMDb it or nothing. I found it on Tubi, and I went at it. My wife said, "What the fuck are you watching?"
Yes.
I had to close the blinds because now we live in a new neighborhood, and I don't know if the neighbors look over fences or anything. So the blinds were all open. First, right away we start with boobs and all kinds of stuff showing, and I was like, it's not porn, I promise. And but close the blinds anyway, and because I don't know how much worse it was going to get. So,
and it did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. So she just went upstairs. She's like, whatever, just let me know when it's over.
She goes, I'm going to research a divorce lawyer. I'll be right back.
No, she just shook her head. She just shook her head and just went upstairs. She's like, all right, well, have fun with that. So this was the first time watching this.
Okay. You have thoughts on where you would probably fall on this as far as whether, don't say it just yet, because I think we're going to give our three applicants here an opportunity to kind of final pitch us on whether we think that this should be
sure.
Whether it's going to sway us one way or another, but and you guys can do it in any order you would like, but why should this be a top shelf video from you guys on Flickers from the Cave? Feel free to use a few minutes to sort of pitch the owners here on why we should have this.
Mike, I don't know what your opinion is on this, but I would say that since this was a gift to you and I from Julie, as far as even bringing this movie to our attention, I think she is fully able and should be given the honor of defending this movie. And I'll be happy to step up and add in my 2 cents. But Julie, you were the one who brought this to us, and so we're really in debt to you.
I mean, yeah, this movie is... I mean, not only is this play a special place like in Flickers from the Cave's heart, because it really did bring us together. I felt like this was the first movie that we all just like fell in love and agreed with and like laughed hysterically. You know, we did pair this with Robo Vampire, which,
right,
you know,
not nearly as good.
Not as great. I do still love that movie. But Raw Force it
was a good pairing.
Is a great movie. I mean, this movie has a brochure of its own island. Like, how many movies can you say that?
Okay.
Like, first of all.
That's true.
But it has multiple different types of boobs. There's fires, arrows.
Do you want to... Wait, can we go back to the boobs? Can you... you mentioned it as a catalog. Do you want to, like, I'm not sure.
And also kinds of boobs.
Yeah,
kinds.
I mean,
okay, that's what I heard.
Yeah,
okay.
there's definitely like multiple different varieties of boobies in this movie. There's a lot of boobs.
Yeah, that's true. There is a breadth of breasts
on the shove boat.
On the shove boat.
Yeah, on the shove boat. Okay.
Which is also known as the Devil's Den.
That's right.
True. How much do you think, though, that the fact that Jim Wynorski came in and tightened up the script or tightened up the edit, how much do you think that had to do with its success?
All of it.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
If your documentary, if the documentary about you as a director is called Papatopoulos, and that is true, then that has something to do with it.
He was asked by the producer to come in and take a look at it, and he went in and he cut about 12 minutes out of it to tighten it up.
Oh, wow.
He just thought it was too slow. So,
Interesting.
I just want to interject that as a living relic of the video store era.
Yes.
And I think, Marty, you and I are sort of chronologically in this fairly much the same place of like,
sure.
The rise and we lived through the rise and fall. Like, you know, it was when it first started turning up around in like little strip malls or whatever, and everybody opened a video store.
Right. Easy way to make quick money.
Right. And so it was before all of the chains came and killed everything and ruined stuff. But this movie in a single volume has everything that I was searching for.
Yes.
Every time I went to the video store, I wanted
and lots of it,
and
not just like one moment.
Right. If you bought a used VHS copy of Raw Force, there wouldn't be like the 3 worn out spots.
Right.
On the tape.
It'd be
the whole tape.
You would let it play all the way through every time.
The whole tape would just be tracking lines.
Yes.
It would just be like, it would be garbled nonsense everywhere because there was no need to fast forward or rewind because you just like
constant
put it in.
Because you know there's another excellent thing coming up. Yeah, 100%.
Right. Then even to propose it further.
This may be. Well, I was going to say this might be the quintessential video store movie.
But also just because of the cover alone. I mean, like seriously, like look at this cover.
Look at that.
Yes.
Like
it's an amazing poster.
That is an impressive cover.
I learned from the documentary the bonus features on the Blu-ray that the guy that did that poster also did the Demonoid poster.
Really?
I can see that actually. That makes sense totally.
Yeah. When I heard it, I was like, yeah, I should have figured that out myself.
But the Demonoid is not nearly as good as the poster.
I mean,
I think Raw Force is probably as good as the poster.
That poster doesn't lie. It isn't like one of those where you kind of go, I can't wait to see this movie, and it like those Italian post-apocalyptic things where it's like, oh man, look at all this, and then you watch it and you're like, oh man.
That was exactly what I was about to say.
Did they just scratch the negative to make it look like arrows?
Well, that wasn't post-apocalyptic, was it? That was
that was a post-apocalyptic. That was what is the?
I mean, the movie was apocalyptic.
Yeah, that's from Conquest, the Lucio Fulci movie. Right. Have you guys ever seen that?
Which
Eli?
one?
Conquest by
It's
Lucio
a sword and
Fulci.
sorcery
yeah.
movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The
I have it on
thing where
beta.
they're in they're oh wow, really?
Yeah.
There's
Wow.
the thing where they're in like a trench and they're being just pelted with arrows.
Yes.
And they just scratched the film. Everywhere there was supposed to be an arrow flying, they just took a point, a pick or something,
So
and
it's
just
just
scratched
suddenly
the
a lot
film.
of fuzzy black
Wow.
lines.
Yeah.
Terrible.
That's
Kinda
the
cool.
arrow.
Yes. Well, any closing remarks that it sounds like that was a pretty good pitch there.
I would, to me, like the era that I was going to the video store was the era right before I could drive, and then all the way from that moment till when they went away.
Mm-hmm.
But I was always going, and if I had been able to get this movie back when I was 16, 17, I would have done like you guys were saying, Julie, like where you spent $70 on a copy of Terminator. I would have probably tried to scare up the money, because this would have been, in that point in my life,
Worth it.
perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like
Absolutely.
watching it, I time travel back to that era where you're carefree and all you're wanting to do is to see a little bit of nudity, a little bit of violence. I want to see a disgraced warrior's head get lopped off on the shore of an island. You know, I want to have some genuinely funny stuff. I want to have like it hits on all notes.
I want to see a Nazi bad
It's
guy just be like demolished by piranhas.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. That was true then, and it's true now. So
Always true.
yeah, I can see that. So
Eternal truth.
Jaime, I'll let you go first because this is the first time you've seen this.
Right.
What do you think? What do you think of that pitch? What do you think of this being as a top shelf movie?
Well, they hit all the buzzwords as far as I'm concerned. Boobies,
A variety
quintessential quintessential VHS era. It checked all the blocks that, like he said, like those teenage years, those impressionable teenage years. I was looking for some, a little bit of explosion, definitely some boobs, some heads, getting cut off, I wanted to remind you, because you're talking about top shelf. We have top shelf, but in one of the previous episodes, you did invent the top shelf select.
Yes,
If you recall.
Yeah.
So that's basically the cassettes that will be inside the briefcase in Pulp Fiction with the gold.
This is almost like an elite level of
I'm
membership.
and I think it's more of those movies fall along the line of, like, you really got to know the customer. Once the regulars come through and they've pretty much seen everything, all the top shelf, and then we'll be like, hey, come here.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, just because of all the things that's in this movie, I think I'm gonna nominate a spot in the briefcase.
Wow.
For this one.
Yeah,
Because because we got to know that customer before we even open up the briefcase.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Because
there's some stuff in here that's
they get us in a lot of trouble if we just have this movie out all the time.
Yeah, in this day and age, you don't know who's going to get offended with what. Once you get to know, old Joe, that comes in same time every week and gets the same type of once Cool Joe comes in enough times, we're gonna be like, hey Joe, come here, have you seen this, have you heard of this? And then we give him the spill, and then we show him the cover art, and then the cover art itself is gonna
you're done.
it's gonna steal the deal. It's a hard sell with that cover. So I'm gonna say top shelf select on this one.
I would concur. That's actually where I was kind of going with this too, because I think we have to be mindful of our customer, but also like people need to know and be like aware of this movie, but it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
like a fine whiskey from Japan.
No.
That isn't for everybody. You may think that it's for you, but it might not be. So yeah, I would concur, and I think that's where this should be.
Nice.
This should be a top shelf video, selects video. So this is kind of like our premiere section of membership. So
So is that like in a glass case, sort of like,
Yeah, we're still working out the
away,
logistics
sort
of where we think we definitely are going to have like a briefcase style Pulp Fiction sort of spot for it.
Okay.
So you kind of have to ask or know
Okay.
about it. Like we may have, it may be kind of out, but you kind of have to, we have to kind of know you and know your viewing purchases, just in case.
It's like the secret menu, like in some of those franchise places.
Right.
People hear about it, but you're not sure.
Gotta kind of know who to
it's not posted
ask.
anywhere. Yeah, you got to ask. Kind of like, is there a secret menu? And that would be where this falls under. So
Yeah.
You have like people come into the
catacombs
shop.
of the Vatican or something.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, kind of.
People lean in over the counter and go, "You got boobies?"
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right.
We got
they
boobies.
have to. They have to know the secret word, right? Which would probably be something like,
platypus.
well, that or
Thanks for the memories.
like
Thanks for the memories.
Memphis style.
I'm here for the
Memphis style. I like it.
I'm here for the watch. The
The
Chinese watch.
Yeah.
Thanks, mother.
Well, so that was fun talking about that. But let's so just to wrap things up or kind of put us on the back end here, a couple logistical things we have to do. I think in terms of I think we would hire. Well, so we're definitely hiring Mike. Mike is Mike can be an all around fix everything sort of kind of guy. But I think we'll take Julie and Marty as well too. And you guys can all work together. Now that all said, based on this movie and what you guys chose, and I feel like your knowledge and your base, I feel like you're for our particular customer base that would probably be coming in on the late night Friday nights or late night Saturday nights. The people that are they're looking for something. They're looking for Memphis style. They're looking for those sorts of things. And you guys are in the shop probably already watching movies as it is, because you guys can run whatever movies you want to watch up there. Although we do ask that, be mindful of, people that may walk in. But I think if they came in asking for Memphis style, I think you guys could cover a variety of things for us in the shop. I'm a little anxious leaving you guys alone in the shop, but I don't know how you feel about that, Jaime. I don't know if you're okay with.
That's just good judgment.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as long as Mike doesn't get keys, because he's the one with the explosive with the explosives. Yeah.
That was a long time
you
ago.
can't be a key holder. Sorry, it's
That's
not personal. It's all business.
Absolutely.
You can go to the
Their
hardware
insurance
store
rates
and you
are
can
already
get
high
like
now.
these thin pieces of metal and slide them into the lock and
Oh yeah.
kind of get the imprint of the key and then run down to the hardware store and make another.
Yeah.
If you had to do that, you could do that.
Right. So did you say Friday or Saturday night? Because I would push for Friday night because given all the extensive movie knowledge they have, they could probably get people to rent for the whole weekend.
Yeah, I would agree. Like when people come in for their I would rather have them work the later shift because we can have other people work they probably could work the couples or the people that are the newlyweds and people that kind of come in and want to watch something like
the rom-com shit.
Yeah, who's got mail or you got mail? I forget what it's called. But who's got mail? They come in, they get their movie by 8:00, and then we can have Mike, Marty, and Julie rolling in around 9:30, 10, being like, all right, guys, let's bring in our people, the people that know, they've
The mutants.
they are coming in because they want to wait for that crowd to sort of clear out because they want to be able to surf the store, without distraction or, they want to be around their tribe. So I feel like these guys would end up working the 10 to 2.
I will tell you,
shift.
Eli, this is actually funny you mentioned this, but how many years, Mike, did we work from about 7 at night till 7 in the morning?
20?
About 20 years we worked from 7 at night till 7 in the morning. And so we're very used to holding down the fort over the long, dark hours.
Big break.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
that's good to know.
So they're well versed with like the Walmart people.
Exactly.
The late night, the people that like in
Yes.
Clerks, the guy that's like looking at the eggs.
Yeah.
All weird.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
Marty and I, this is a real experience. Marty and I were standing outside a cookout at 1:30 in the morning.
Which is a local burger chain.
A drive-up burger place. And it was, we were talking to this dude, and his friend was trying to get his job back at Cookout because he'd had to leave the state for a while because of something to do with the ATF.
The ATF was
That's all.
after him.
That's
He
all
had
we
to
found
flee
out.
down to Atlanta, but was back in town and trying to work it out. What was it was like,
He said, "This man makes fries. You ain't never had fries until
Yeah.
you've had this man's fries."
you got to see how he work a fry later. It was crazy.
So it had nothing to do with
actually-
the mob, though. No, it had nothing to
No.
do with the mob or potentially running away from
No
a
drugs
murder.
or anything. No.
A murder.
And
Probably.
no, he was not a dick hitter.
But I did hear
Okay.
him mention Warrior Island at one point, so I don't know.
And you guys kind of rolled in with it. Hey, is anybody here going to Warrior Island? Like,
That's right.
Yeah, I had
Anybody
my
here
brochure.
being chased by the ATF? And he said, "Yeah, I am."
well, so last couple, a bit of administrative things, I guess. Jaime, how do you think we should have what format should we have this for the story? I think obviously we have to have this on VHS,
Yes.
for our premiere selection. But
Yes.
where did you watch this? Did you watch this on
it was on Tubi.
Tubi? Okay,
Yeah.
So you probably
Yeah,
saw the same similar version I saw. I think that's actually from the Blu-ray rip. I think because that looked pretty good.
It looked pretty good. Yeah. I don't know what kind of extra stuff is on like the Blu-rays and stuff, so I don't know if I got much say in that, but I mean the VHS is fine with me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got some suggestions on other formats,
No, I think VHS and probably like the Blu-rays probably needed, pretty decent amount of those like on stock.
I can tell you, if you have the Bluray, you also have the DVD. They get
Oh,
both
okay.
discs in the package. So.
Cool. Then that should cover us. And then the last thing, or last couple things there, I guess, is any merch that we want to promote this movie. I mean, that poster is pretty epic, or that cover, and I feel like we probably want that for sure up in the store.
Yeah. That poster, I would definitely like that on the window facing out. I mean, just there's so much going on there.
You're right. That is going to draw in a lot of people. Like, kung fu swords.
Yeah. I mean, as far as merch, I mean, I think just kind of like a tank top that says Burbank Karate Club.
That'd be badass.
That's great.
Tank
I
tops,
could see
very
that.
80s.
Right.
Maybe even some Speedos.
You.
Oh, okay. You know
Maybe.
what?
I could see that.
What you could do, you
But
could
it
sell
couldn't say
walnuts,
Mike on
but
it.
you
It would have to say
them
Mike on it.
in a Speedo hanging on the wall with walnuts in there. And that's how you sell walnuts. I think that could work.
Oh, very nice.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have one more like
Sure.
merchandising sort of suggestion is go take a tip from Disney, Disney World, and when you've got this movie out and you're promoting it, you have the faint smell of Memphis style barbecue filling up the store.
I got like a candle.
So that everybody's
like a flavored candle.
like everybody's walking around. Well, I'm going to go home and watch this movie, but God, I got to
Mike-
get some
Mike, I'm
smoked
gonna-
meat.
I'm going to piggyback off your idea there then, because I think we also need a cannibal women
Scented.
barbecue cookbook on how to prepare
Flesh.
in slow roast.
Yeah.
You're captured exactly right, and it'll have
It's called
the
How
various-
to Serve Women.
right the various chants, the type of
okay.
woods you want to use when you're slow roasting. Like women from cat houses. Because you got to make
have
sure
Richard Keel on your book cover, Mike.
The what's that?
Oh.
You can have Richard Keel on the cover of your book to serve women.
That's right.
Oh yeah. I mean, because you
It's a cookbook.
apple. Do you want to use applewood or do you want to use some mesquite? Those things are very
Well, you're
important.
you're Texas
I
guys,
thought you
so
were going to say
you're
an
going to
apple
be
in the mouth is what I thought you were.
well,
gonna
maybe
say.
yeah.
But because you're Texas guys, it's going to be probably mesquite or post oak.
Right,
I would
right,
think.
and burn ends.
So-
I mean, we're big on that too. So,
But
Oh,
like
hell
we're it's fruit woods like applewood, cherrywood, and hickory.
yeah, we don't do that here. We have guns.
Hickory's the
and stuff.
primary.
Right. Yeah. We're gun
wow.
state. Julie or
I'm sorry, a gun state?
yeah, we're a gun state. Julie or Marty, you guys
Butt
have
state.
any suggestions on merch or anything that?
Wow, I wasn't expecting this question, but I love the tank top with the
Me
Burbank
too.
Karate Club. I think that's fantastic.
Oh, you could get.
I mean, you could
I'll
honestly
go ahead
just
and
put that
pre-order
logo
one of
on
those.
everything. You could get a keychain, a tote bag. I think that logo should be everywhere. You just put that on a TeePublic site or something and just get everything. Redbubble or
You
something.
could get one of those like t-shirt launchers and then like shoot them at people.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great idea.
I think
Over the
Can you get one that's over the
like a
shoulder
bazooka.
so it's like firing a rocket launcher?
That would be awesome.
And then
I
you're
can
just
see
like,
that.
thunk, thunk,
I think
thunk.
one last thing you could do as well too is basically you could have like a where you put your ice like in those round containers, usually like when you're serving like adult beverages, usually comes in a like I guess you could
like
put
an ice
wine.
bucket?
Yeah, like an ice bucket, but a real nice one. But it would have like a tilting thing on top, which would be the head of that Gallagher looking like kung fu guy from the movie, and you just kind of slam it down and it cracks your ice, and breaks your ice into smaller pieces. So it's kind of like a nutcracker. But
like the bartender.
the bartender.
Yeah.
And so
I
you're
think that's
slamming
okay.
his
Alright.
forehead into the ice.
You have to have a shag carpet lined receptacle for the ice to fall into.
Okay, yeah.
After it's busted by the
It's fair. Yeah.
frizzy Larry Fine looking forehead.
Well, you got to have the bozo hair and mutton
clearly.
chops and
Yes.
stuff too. You got to have that as a thing you can just put on.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that could just be a disguise. Like it'll just say like disguise, but it'll be the hair and definitely we need that karate shirt.
I'm down.
Burbank
This is
Burbank
the-
Karate Club is what we had said.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can actually get one on Redbubble, which is what I've shared my screen here.
Yeah.
Is that for real? Was already there?
That was already there.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm designing
That is
something
nuts.
so we all know. Like I
Yes,
actually
please.
do like that idea, and I'm probably going to do it and sell it on our actual website.
awesome.
I
Top
think
Shelf
that's a
Video.
great idea.
I think it's awesome. Yeah.
Well,
What was the? All right. What was the name of the fucking ship? Does anybody know?
The
No, I don't know if it was ever
That's-
said.
I
Well, for sure. But
don't know if that ever came up.
no clue.
did it?
I'd have to go back, watch the movie, and just kind of try to pause it whenever they show the boat and see if we can find it.
Yeah.
how fucked up is it going to be if we find out it was the SS Memphis?
Oh man.
Oh man.
Well, can you imagine the speech that Quint would have gone if he had gone down on the USS Memphis?
On the USS
Man.
Memphis.
Yeah,
That's
wow.
right. You ever seen a stripper's eyes? They're black. Like a doll's eyes.
Like a doll's eyes. Yeah. I guess anything you guys want to before we send you guys along your way back to the back of the shop, I guess through the hole to your what is it, speed tunnel or what do we call it's the hypertube?
Hyperloop. Yeah.
Hyperloop. Yeah. You guys want to talk about your podcast or go ahead and take just a minute to sort of put yourselves out there for our three fans?
Well, I will say that if you'd like more of this, you're invited and encouraged to join us over at Flickers from the Cave. You can find it on all the podcast sites. But we've been doing this since 2009, and we are not quite on the same cadence as the guys here at Top Shelf Video. We get them out occasionally. We've all been sort of busy lately, but boy, do we love weird movies, and we'd love to have you come over and listen.
Well, there's a great back catalog for you guys. I mean,
Yes.
Thank you.
There's a whole lot that. Yeah, it's
We've
good.
done-
It's really.
You may
We've
not
done
be as
234 episodes at this
yes. You
Few-
may not be as
few
frequent, but
things.
you have plenty.
Few things in life are as deep as our back catalog and yet as remarkably shallow.
point. Look, we like
Because
what
it
we
is the
like.
most
Come on, man.
Shallow, vacuous bullshit you've ever heard. And you said, if somebody's looking for more of this shit, I was thinking, like, seek help. Get out of the house. Talk to somebody. Like there's counselors. You can just get on the phone. You can have it. You can do it online. I mean, there's somebody you can talk to, and don't spend your time listening to us.
But I would say that we're doing a service. Like we have told people about Steve Barquette, and
we have
that dude made 2 movies. They're fucking great, and I'd never heard of them before we did them, and I don't think either of y'all had either. And I think there's more people that need to know about that type of thing. Same thing's true with Raw Force. These are things that people need to see, that need to be more known than maybe they
Blood
are.
Harvest.
Yeah.
Blood Harvest. Come on. Piece of art.
Holy shit.
I would agree.
That movie is insane.
I would agree about your guys' podcast, and I guess like as a sort of a final note, I will say, because we may have said it off the record, but I will say it on the record. Yeah, you guys are probably, I mean, you definitely are the reason why Jaime and I are doing this podcast, because I had a lot of fun being on with you guys, but also, and I think I mentioned this before, like it is kind of cool to just, during the real video store days, we never would have run into each other just because of distance. But if there is anything good of the internet, very few things that are good from the internet, that it did allow for the broadening of like finding people that would be in your tribe and finding you guys through your back catalog of movies like Raw Force, Gymkata, Robo Vampire, and being able to give you guys also the films that I thought would fit in the genre. It was a nice connection, and I really appreciate you guys doing your podcast and putting it out there, because I think it does have good ramifications for people like myself when I'm looking for things and people that I feel like I could connect with, and even though we may be separated by a good amount of distance, you guys are very awesome, and you guys have a great podcast, and I really do appreciate you guys doing everything you've done and giving me a voice as well too, to feel comfortable enough to do this with my brother, and so I super appreciate it. It means a lot. So
it's an honor.
Well, thank you.
Wow,
That's
thank
huge.
you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
yeah. That said, the pay rate is still the same. It's just one for the three of you.
I really was feeling
good.
good there for a minute.
It's just you guys. You'll have to figure
still
it
a
out.
business.
Yeah, I mean, it's sorry. It is
Too early to ask about healthcare?
Yeah, and
It's
also
a little
vacation.
too
When
early,
when can I get my first?
Well,
day of vacation?
Jesus, like you got to at least work one shift before we can even get.
Look,
to
I
that
need Friday
conversation.
off. I just
Here we go.
Well, guys, thanks for coming on. Jaime and I need to get the shop ready. We were doing all this before we even opened today, so we still have to get things ready, and we're gonna have a full day ahead of us.
I'm sorry, I didn't tell you, but I did eat all the popcorn earlier. So
Oh man,
I'm gonna have to make
jeez.
more.
Yeah, again, we'll see how this pans out, right? Let's get in one shift. We'll see how it goes.
One shift at a time. Yeah.
One shift at a time, and then we'll see how things go. And I'll let you guys sort through making sure you can all keep each other in check. But again, thanks guys for coming on, and really appreciate it. And listen to Flickers from the Cave. Go to their backlog. Give us a like. Give us a comments, feedback. Throw something over to us on
movie recommendations.
Give us recommendations. We're on most of the platforms, probably similar to Flickr, so where you get most of your podcasts. Feel free to leave us comments and stuff there. We will eventually get an email set up at some point, but also on Instagram, you can find us there. Top Shelf Video TX. So yeah, Jaime, I think you and I still have a little bit of work to do, but we'll get things going, and you guys can get out of our store now. And, and
Mike, hand me that shovel. I need to open this thing back up.
all right, thanks guys.
Smell meat.